All right. Quickly here this morning, I want to show you what's going on in America. All right. What's commonly accepted in this country is the notion is that Christianity is right. They're coming from the position that they are right, and they believe that whatever they say and put forth, because they have the history of the Hebrews, their Bible, the Hebrew scriptures, and they have twisted, warped, and distorted. And you notice, there's going to be a great push and a great sentiment going towards total annihilation of the Old Testament. That's how they quote it. And only quoting from the New Testament, which I don't know how in the world you're going to do that, since the New Testament is 2/3 of the Old Testament. And that's the reason why we don't understand that. But what we have here is we have this pastor. And again, remind you, America is coming from a position where they're assuming that these Baptist preachers and teachers are right. Now, while I do agree with this pastor on his stance against the gay agenda, because I do not support the gay agenda and I never will support the gay agenda. And that's the reason why the people have to get rid of the Bible, because they have to be able to make themselves feel comfortable. But I've told you, if I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, at least here on YouTube as well as my radio broadcast, is that homosexuality is a very militant movement. And these people, they will seem like that they're very soft, kind, sweet, nice, all the above superlatives you want to use. But the truth is, these people are very vindictive and very militant, and they want to pervert the whole entire country. So now what we have in front of us is that they're trying to cram down our throats while they can have their so-called freedom of speech. All of a sudden, those of us who are functioning after a right paradigm, we can't have ours. We can't say what we want. And they're using the force of the law and the guns to do it. And then there's also the aspect of, you know what, before I spoil it all, let's just deal with this point by point, okay? Listen to this right here. This is a Baptist pastor who I definitely don't agree with, because his theology is all screwed up. You know, we got to ask ourselves a question, and I know what it is. You see, they'll get these polished Baptist preachers on these popular TV shows like this. They're not about to get nobody like me or anybody else who is, well, I guess what they call very opinionated, who is not going to capitulate, nor are we going to acquiesce in any way, shape, fashion, form to the agenda that is put forth by America. I'm going to flat out speak truth to power and tell truth to power. And that's why you ain't going to never see Pastor Dow probably on Fox News or something like that, because they ain't going to have nobody on there like me. And of course, you know what happens when they do. They turn their mics up loud and then they try to drown you out like they do with Travis Smiley and a few other people. But they don't really truly want this truth out, but they seem to be confederate in this. I'm actually with them on this issue right here. But let's just deal with this point by point. Let's listen to it. Gay man says he will hurt Christians for not accepting gay marriage. All right, Hannity Show, Fox News, June 29th, 2015. Listen.
Sean, look, I had a debate Friday night on television with the pastor of the largest gay church in America, and he started talking about tolerance. So I said, well, how tolerant are you? Do you think those bakers in Oregon should have lost their business because they wouldn't bake a gay wedding cake? He wouldn't answer my question, Sean, 3 times because he thought they should lose their business.
Well, let's ask Brian. Brian, you want to answer that question?
That's where this is going.
Brian, answer that question.
Well, I think that our country has a long history of, in the public,
I don't want the history.
Business.
Answer the question.
I'm trying to tell you, because he's talking about why it is that that they should or shouldn't lose their business. And the fact is, we don't deny business to people based on their race. We don't deny it based on gender. A public business is open to.
So the answer is, if they don't bake a gay wedding cake
sexual
because
choice.
of their religious views. Pastor, what's your reaction?
Yeah, look, the First Amendment is not just for churches or synagogues. It's for all Americans to freely exercise their religious beliefs everywhere, not just in the church, synagogue, or home. And that's why Justice Alito and Justice Roberts said this decision is going to be used to vilify those who believe in traditional marriage. And that's why
Now, first of all, number one, I personally don't care what the gay people are going to do. I don't care what they're going to do. I don't care how they're going to live. Go ahead and live the way you're going to live. Do what you're going to do. You're going to do it anyway. But know this, in the end, the judge, the creator of the universe, the eternal most high, he's definitely got a place for all you people, whether you like it or not. Now, the problem with this pastor is he's trying to take from the position. You have the world out here, which Christ warns us to be unspotted from the world. Christ tells us to don't even have fellowship with the unfruitful works of unrighteousness. That's what he teaches. Christ teaches us to come out and be separate. The word of the apostles, all of it. And so what they're interested in the laws of this land, because they feel like the laws of this land has a bearing on our quality of life. And I say our quality of life, and I'm speaking from the perspective and point of view of those of us who understand what marriage is. Now, when they say traditional marriage, they're all jacked up because they don't even have any idea what traditional marriage is according to the Bible. And that's the reason why they don't want to do away with the Old Testament. But I got something for all of them out there, all the preachers and teachers who think they understand what traditional marriage is, because the truth is, marriage is defined by the scriptures. It's an institution that was incorporated by the Most High, and he gave his laws, statutes, and commandments to the Hebrews, not to the world. And so these people are trying to redefine. They think that traditional marriage is one man, one woman until death do you part. It's all jacked up, and I'll be willing to definitely have a discussion over anybody with that. But then again, they all say that they love Abraham, and they accept Abraham as the father of the faith, but they reject his lifestyle. These Christians are liars. Every one of them are liars. And traditional marriage is not one man, one woman. That's something that they've made up themselves. They're doing a lot of practice of exegesis and eisegesis, both ways. They're speaking out both sides of their neck. And see, this is the problem right here, is when we're trying to redefine a Hebrew culture from a Western perspective. See, the West, Europeans, they have taken and stolen the book of the Hebrews, and then they've turned around, repackaged it, rehashed it, because they think that they are the ones now, the chosen people, because some way, somehow, Yah has actually cast away his people, and then he has made them the chosen people, which is nothing but a lie. He has not cast away his people, which he has foreknew. In any way, shape, fashion, or form, and you'll read that in the book of Romans in your New Testament. And I say in your New Testament because the way that they interpret the scriptures the same way that our perverted government interprets law. And it's all twisted, warped, and distorted. But remind you, the founding fathers of this country, they definitely didn't practice traditional marriage because, number one, they didn't have marriage license. And then number two, whenever Thomas Jefferson and all the rest of them and stuff, when they were married, they didn't, at this traditional marriage or marriage the way that they trying to define it, it didn't stop them going down to the slave quarters and creating a bunch of people who they have classified as mulattoes. And see, this is what really truly needs to be brought out to the forefront because while we live in a serial polygamous society and stuff, you know, on the books, just like we have a form of godliness in this country, but we continually keep denying the power, they have a form of religion in this country that they're trying to cram down the throats of everybody and try to make them live and the way that they want them to live. That's coming from the so-called Christian right, which is totally opposed. I can't find one thing that's even right about Christianity. And mind you, I used to be a Christian. So don't sit up and tell me I don't know Christian theology and doctrine. The truth is, I know it better than they do. But now here we are, and let's go on here a little bit. I had to hit that for a second because these people have an agenda on both sides. But let's hear what the gay man has to say.
Said, Sean, to my congregation yesterday, Louis Gohmert was there. I said, we will not be silenced. We will not be intimidated by the liberal left, by Barack Obama, or the Supreme Court.
Let me ask Brian a follow-up question then, because I think this is an important point. If people are practicing a deeply held religious faith, and their faith tells them that this is the wrong lifestyle, obviously they disagree with you. Why not respect their right to live their faith? In other words, they go to church maybe on Sunday, or maybe they have a Bible study on Tuesday night, but the idea is to live your faith 24 hours. If that is their deeply held religious faith, why not respect it and say, okay, be tolerant that they disagree with you?
I think we do respect people's faith.
But no. But you just got something saying you're going to use the force of government to make them bake that cake or shut them down.
I think that we have a respect for people's faith in this country. I think we also have a respect for treating people equally under the law and the Constitution.
So people would have to wait a minute. But then people would have to bake the cake under.
See, I mean, I totally disagree with this type of rogue journalism, to where you ask a question, then they try to answer, but then you overstep and overtalk them and loud talk them, trying to push them into a corner and don't let them get out their words. See, that's why we believe in a higher standard, because, the scriptures, my ancient people scriptures teach me to not interrupt people in the midst of their conversation. But these people, I don't expect these people to operate out to these standards, because they are very cold-hearted and cruel people. Let the gay man speak so we can answer intelligently. And I'll say it again, I don't agree with this gay agenda. But if we're going to get to the issues, and I think he's bringing up a very good point. Since some way, somehow, the government has been infiltrated, the Supreme Court has been infiltrated and stuff. And if they're going to go ahead and let what the Bible calls, according to Leviticus 20:13, an abomination, something that should be taken care of by the death penalty in itself. Even in this country in the 60s, it was actually called a mental disorder. The homosexual agenda was actually called a mental disorder in this country in the 1960s. And now all of a sudden it's an accepted form of life. Stop being hypocrites. We don't accept all forms of lifestyle, and neither do we respect other people's opinion. Neither do we respect their liberties. Neither do we expect their right to be able to live as they choose, especially consenting adults, because we have all been birthed into a paradigm. When we fell out of our mother's womb, out of the matrix, we were already birthed into a system. We went to their government training camps, the public food system, and we were taught how to function in this society after their paradigm. And that's the reason why that we're blowing the hell out of the East over there, because they don't agree with the way that we want to do civilization. And that is the literal truth. But until everybody starts exercising some form of autonomy, we're not really truly going to get to the bottom line of what truth is. Because see, as long as there's no absolutes, then people are going to always put their diverse opinion above that which is written or the scriptures. And the Bible is literally under attack. Let's just go ahead and face it. It's literally under attack. And of course, I'm not surprised at all about the gay agenda. I remember a long time ago, well over 15 years ago, 20 years ago probably, I stood up in the pulpit and I said, I actually thank y'all for the homosexuals. And then people thought I was going crazy. They went, wait a minute, what's wrong with Pastor? He done lost his mind. No, because according to the Bible, that is one of the surgeons of the end time. That the same way he warned us about Sodom and Gomorrah, he said that is the same thing that's going to be sitting here right in front of us in the time that we are living in now. That's one of the purest signs that we know that we are in the end day. We are in the end time. Is when we start seeing the same thing that happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. And of course, we know the history of that. It was destroyed by fire and brimstone. What do you think is going to happen to America? We're already setting ourselves to be destroyed by fire and brimstone. But anyway, let's go on here.
Forced by the state to do so.
They would have to bake a cake for somebody, even if they disagreed with their race, with their religion.
So they can't fully practice their religious belief, I think is what Dr. Jefferson said.
But we've said that. We said that many times before. We've also said that folks have.
Father, go ahead.
I think one way to look at this, and I understand what we're removing in society right now, is to protect people of same-sex attraction as a separate class of people, right? How about this? How about if somebody comes to a photography shop and says, you know what, I want you to take a picture of my first kiss between three of us who are getting married. We think it's a wonderful thing, the three of us are in love, And you as a photographer, we want you to be the photographer. We want you to do beautiful art of the three of us doing our first kiss.
We're running out of time, Father. This is a long description.
And
Sean,
that's why.
And I think these are lots of different options and different
Sean,
things that
you
we could
would
talk
not
about.
make a Muslim T-shirt owner. You would not make a Muslim T-shirt owner of a T-shirt company. You would not make him draw a picture, a cartoon that defamed the Prophet Muhammad. We would not make somebody do that.
Thank you all for being with us. Appreciate it.
Well. Anyway, it isn't what the title says that it was, but anyway, it's just a sad situation because Christians, they got so much dirt in that background and stuff, they don't have a right to even be in this debate. As immoral and as wicked as their history is, why even come to the table to try to discuss something that is just as much as an idolatrous abomination as the homosexual agenda? Now, that's my personal opinion. Do we not have freedom of speech in this country and the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? See, the problem is when we're trying to derive all of our liberties, our freedoms, and rights at the end of the gun barrel sanctioned by the government. If you are an adult, don't you have the mind to be able to manage your own life? Don't you know how to be able to live on your own and to be able to pursue the righteousness of the convictions of your own heart as laid forth in the scriptures? Why do you have to look for approval from government? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand. Do you even know the history of the reason why the federal government actually rolled out the National Guard out there in Utah against the Mormons? Because they were becoming a great people and they were seeking the office of the presidency. And so the first thing they did was try to outlaw polygamy. And the reason why they tried to outlaw polygamy because they have already taken over the states. Because you get the Mormons or the fundamentalists out there who are actually got more voting rights and voting power because they go to church. And these people are going to be active politically. Then they're going to take over the governorship. They're going to take over the sheriff's department. They're going to take over the mayor. They're going to take, and they were starting to want to run for the presidency. Our government didn't like their former lifestyle, even though these hypocrite, especially founding fathers and Americans, were raping, robbing, murdering, lynching, and separating families and stuff. And they were practicing polygyny and serial polygyny, but yet it's still on the books. They want to try to write righteousness down and be able to cram it down the throats of everybody else. And I know you people don't like this kind of talk because most people in America are literally incapable of acknowledging the truth. Because, see, I personally believe that the Bible is the truth. And I get all these people that will give you all these opinions. That's all they have. It's their own personal opinion. They have made their own book of the law, and then they're trying to use the Bible for their own agenda. But then when you get somebody like me that knows what the Bible says, or many other people out there that knows what the scripture says, you're not going to fool us with the society or this age of Aquarius that you're trying to bring about to deceive the hearts of the people. All you have to do is just check out everything I'm saying. And you don't want to hear my personal opinion no more than I want to hear yours. It's just a fact. But if we're going to use and say that the Bible is the truth, and that's where it first starts. If we're going to use that as the Bible is the truth, then it's going to be the end all and the be all, not man. Me, myself, personally, I'm going to obey the creator of the universe before man, always. That's just the way it's going to be. And you can tell that book is pretty powerful because it is under now the most scrutiny that it is. You're going to see in America where people are going to start burning the scriptures. And all you Christians out there believe in a pre-tribulation rapture, you get ready for some bitterness like you've never, ever experienced before in your life. But no, this gay man is wrong. He's wrong. Oh, and by the way, I need to throw that in there too as well. Notice how that this pastor, the first thing he does is start to make an attack on the Muslims. Again, I'll say it again. I believe that the Muslims, in their culture, I believe that Christianity pales in comparison to the holiness of the Muslims. It's my personal opinion. That's what I believe. Now you come out with all the fiery darts and everything else. I'm not a defender of the Muslim religion, but I do know what I see. And I know hypocrisy when I see it. And for Christianity to sit up here and champion itself as the epitome of righteousness from one end of this globe to the next is vexing and it's hypocritical to the zenith. That's exactly what it is. And I'm sure that many of you are going to take offense at what I say. But know this. Everybody has a keyboard. Everybody has their personal opinion. And you don't have to consent to my personal opinions or my point of views, perspectives, or viewpoints on this and stuff. I have a right to get on here just like anybody else. But I think that what it is, the gig is up. The gig is up, and American Christianity and all its lies is being discovered because knowledge is being increased, and people are starting to look into things for themselves. They're starting to do their own research and own due diligence, and they have all found out that they have been had. They have been had by a pagan system of corruption. So now you got the Christians fighting the gays, and both of them are wrong. Well, what's right? The scriptures is right. That's what's right. And that's the truth. And that's the true straight way.